Welcome to Galilee Missionary Baptist Church Bible Study. As you know, we are going through the entire Bible. We started with Genesis chapter 1 on last Wednesday, and we've been doing 2 chapters a day. Okay, so we are on 2 chapters a day. We do a chapter at 8 in the morning, and we do a chapter at 7 p.m. So at any time you want to review those chapters, they are on Facebook under Galilee Missionary Baptist Church. Tonight, we are on Genesis chapter 15. We are on Genesis chapter 15. And I'm just going to do a quick recap. So, of course, chapter 1, we talked about the beginning, right? And we went through the days that God created the earth. And we know on the first day he created light, okay? And he called that light day, and the darkness he called night. On day 2, he created the firmament to divide the waters, and he named it heavens. On day 3, he caused the seas and the dry land to separate. And he created the grass, the herbs, and the trees for food. Day 4, he made the sun, the moon, and stars to divide the light from the darkness. And he created them for signs, for seasons, and for days and years. Day 5, he created the sea creatures and the birds and commanded them to be fruitful and multiply. And then day 6, he created the land creatures and he created man. And he commanded us as well to be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, and he told us to subdue it. Okay? So then chapter 2, we learned that God rested. And then he went back to let us know specifically how he created man of the dust of the ground. And we found out that he created woman from the rib of the man, right? And then Adam said, "This is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man." And then verse 24 said, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." But we'll see later on, Lamech decided he wanted 2 wives, right? Lamech, that was from Cain's descendants, not Lamech from Shem. Okay? I'm sorry, Seth. So then chapter 3 is the great fall, where the serpent tricks the woman, and they eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And if you've been following along with us, we kind of ask questions, and we're learning that we're finding the answers in the Word. One of the questions from chapter 1 was, when did we begin to eat animals? Because it said that he gave us the herbs, the trees, and the fruit for food. It didn't say anything about animals. Sister Cynthia revealed that in chapter 9, that's when you see God gives us the animals to eat as well. Okay, in chapter 9. But it's with conditions. We can't eat live animals. Okay? We cannot eat anything that's alive, nor shall we take anything a part of an animal while it's still alive. Okay, so that was a condition of us eating meat. That was in chapter 9. And verse 3 says, "Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things." Verse 4, "But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat." So if you had that question too, when did human beings begin eating meat? We see that in chapter 9, verse 3. Okay? And then we know
So, excuse me, I had a question. So, does that include raw meats? Because like sometimes we eat meat rare, like a steak, you eat it medium rare where the blood is still in it.
I don't know. It doesn't say anything about medium and rare. It just says you can't eat it with the life in it.
If it's kicking.
If it's kicking or twitching, that is not what we're supposed to be eating. Okay? And so even in that, the blood is very important because that's the life, right? And even in that, I have a question for y'all, okay? So, maybe I shouldn't ask that.
No, yeah.
It's
Because that's what was like the medium rare is still with blood in it.
well, no, it wasn't about food. It was about the artificial movement of the blood once a person is gone. So I was wondering about that part. So if the life blood is gone, but they're artificially keeping it warm, but the person's spirit is gone.
Like life support.
Not just life support. I'm not talking about like life support. I'm talking about like brain dead, no function at all. Not in a coma. Not I'm talking about.
So you're already in the place to be
Wherever they are, but they're still keeping the body part alive, even though the spirit is gone. And I think,
But I think they normally do that because when they want to use the organs.
yeah, right.
Yeah, because they're no longer concerned about the person anymore. They just want to keep the organs.
Yeah, but I think that's a point of where we as humans, I think we kind of get wrapped up in the flesh part and forget about the spirit part. Like we are spirit beings that just so happen to be. This is the suit that we're in, but the Bible does tells us without the spirit, that body's dead. So yes, they'll do it for the organs, but sometimes we will think that a person is still there and there's no spirit there. So that's why I didn't want to. But yeah, just something to think about because the life is in the blood. Okay, so the life is in the blood. Chapter 10, we go down to the generations of Noah. So now we have Cain killed Abel, right? And so we have all of Cain's descendants. And then they have another son, Seth, and we have all of Seth's descendants. And we see that a lot of their children, their names were very similar, right? But they're not the same. Some of them was even alike. Because Cain had a son called him Enoch, right? There's also an Enoch in Seth's line. Have you all been able to follow us as we went through it? Because now we're in Abraham, so we're generations from Adam. Okay. So then when we get to chapter 5, it tells us this is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. And then they go on to only speak about Seth's genealogy, right? Even though Cain, y'all know Cain was cast out and he got a wife. We still don't know where his wife come from. We don't know. We're going to find out later on. But he ended up getting a wife and moving, having kids. And then they have another child named Seth. And so now they're going in detail about Seth's genealogy. And they start to list his children. Okay? So Seth begot Enosh. Okay? Enosh begot Canaan, which is not the same Canaan that it comes from Noah's son Ham, right? So it's important to follow who is who so that you know where they're coming from, where they were sent to, because they were told to be fruitful and multiply, right? And fill the And then we get to Noah, and everybody's so wicked now. So Noah, okay, is from Seth's bloodline, okay? So after the flood, the only ones that exist is the one from Seth. So all of Cain's children are destroyed, right? They're all drowned, okay? All of the birds of the air, all of the land animals were drowned. Only the fish in the sea, okay? And that was one of the questions. Why were the fish saved? Why were all of the sea creatures saved? Is it because was those things that was made out of the earth that wicked? That he said everything on the earth except for these 8 souls, Noah and his family. But the fish didn't die, right? And then the other thing was, it didn't just rain down 40 days. It said the depths were broken up. So there was water coming from below coming up and coming down from on top. And so it rained 40 days and 40 nights, but it took 150 days for the waters to even subside, right? So we get past Noah and his sons, and we know Ham did a disgraceful thing by looking on his father being uncovered. So Noah cursed his son. So he didn't curse Ham, he cursed Canaan, Ham's son. I wondered about that. Okay, well, he's the one that did it. Why is his son being cursed, right? But we'll see this all play out throughout, okay? So we went through chapter after chapter, and now we are on chapter 15. If you missed reading any of the chapters, they are on Facebook. You can go to Galilee's Facebook page, go under Reels, and you will see all of them in order. Or if you're not on Facebook, they're also on YouTube under Galilee Missionary Baptist Church. Okay? So if you miss any of them, it's important to do it in order so that you know why things are happening. Okay? So now we will go to chapter 15, verse 1. Genesis chapter 15, verse 1. And Brother LaBradford, we're going through the entire Bible. So just join right on with us. We're doing 2 chapters a day. So we started with 1 on Wednesday. Thursday, we're doing 2 chapters a day. So whether or not you're able to get on every day, just read the 2 chapters. Okay? So verse 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. So he's not Abraham yet, y'all. So the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. So this is after last chapter. This was that first battle that was mentioned in the Bible with all of those kings. It was 4 kings against 5 kings, right? And Lot, this was after Lot and Abram had separated, and Lot found himself in Sodom. So when they first separated, he was toward Sodom. By the time these kings was in battle, he was in Sodom. That was my question. How you go from outside to inside? And clearly you can see all the wickedness going on in Sodom, right? So this is after that battle where Abram goes and saves Lot, okay? So after the war with Chedorlaomer, it appears God is encouraging Abram because Abram may have been afraid because now he has these enemies that he didn't have before, right? Abram was not getting into it with anybody, but he had to go. He chased them down to get his nephew, Lot, right? So this is the first time that he has to go save Lot. Verse 2. If someone could read verse 2 through 5. Genesis chapter 15, verse 2 through 5.
But Abram said, Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. Then Abram said, look, you have given me no offspring. Indeed, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, this one shall not be your heir, but one who will come from your own body shall be your heir. Then he brought him outside and said, look now toward heaven and count the stars if you are able to number them. And he said to him, so shall your descendants be.
Amen. So remember what God told Abram and how often he kept saying this to him. When he told him to leave his family and leave his country, right? He told him, I will make you a great nation. Okay? And then when Abram got to Shechem, God said, I will give your descendants this land. Okay? When Abram came back from Egypt and when Lot left, God said to Abram that he will make his descendants as the dust of the earth. And here God is again telling him plainly that the heir will come from his own body. Right? And so God knows that sometimes he can tell you something and years pass, it's been 10 years at this point, and still he's not seeing an heir from his body, even though God has told him multiple times, you're going to be a great nation. I will make your descendants is this, right? How many promises or words from God that he has told you, right, that you kind of feel like maybe he forgot what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
He didn't forget. But there is a certain time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he's continuing to tell you, if God is continuing to encourage you, that's letting you know, hey, I know what I told you. And one thing my word won't do is return to him void.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so verse 6 says, and he believed in the Lord. This was the verse here. And he accounted it to him for righteousness. So yes, it may have took him to say, hey, no. When I keep saying your descendants, it's coming from your body. Maybe that's what it took for him to just fully believe what God said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7, then he said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to inherit it. Verse 8, and he said, Lord God, how shall I know that I will inherit it? Verse 9, so he said to him, bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. So this is the first time that I'm seeing where God is requesting an animal. We know that Cain and Abel did sacrifices, but this is the first time I'm seeing where God is requesting the animals. Verse 10, then he brought all of these to him and cut them in two down the middle and placed each piece opposite the other, but he did not cut the birds in two. Verse 11, and when the vultures came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. Verse 12, now when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, horror and great darkness fell upon him. Verse 13, then he said to Abram, know certainly that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them 400 years. So this is the hard part to hear, right? Do you see how much information you can get from God when you call upon him?
Mm-hmm.
This is detailed information, right? Some parts of Abram's journey, he didn't know how or where or when, but God is answering those questions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So we're going to find out why he has to wait, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, even in reading that, I see a place that we could want something, but what if God told you that this was going to happen after you have it? Like, let's say you have a child. If God had told us that, yeah, I'll give you a son, but your son is going to have the traits of autism, would we still have wanted a son? And so that begins to make you think of when he was Abram, how he basically begged God for an heir, and now God told him to do this, but they're going to, for 400 years, they're going to go through this. Kind of makes you don't want to ask.
But with information, you're able to make better decisions, right? And we gonna see what type of decision his wife made. But you know what I mean? It's power in that knowledge. For me, I would rather know, just so I'm not like not knowing. You know what I mean? But I'm also comfortable with trusting God that He know I can't handle certain information right now. So there also has to be where you trust Him enough that He knows you can't handle it, even though you think you can, right? That's the point.
What he's trying to do, he's trying to develop faith.
Yes. Building this
Because if it's so easily it comes,
you don't
you
need
got
faith
to
because see it.
got to really, really believe. Without seeing something happen.
Yes.
So look at United States. When you said 400 years, we hope we ain't have to put up 400 years of this. It's sad. It's already proclaimed that perilous times are going to come, but now they're just doing it in broad daylight. It's like it's a joke. Ooh, God.
I think too, as a parent, the love that you will have for your child, no parent in here would want to see their child suffer. So that would, honestly, I don't think I would want to know. Because if I know God tell me I'm going to give you an heir, but this child is going to suffer, I'm going to say, God, it's better that you keep him. Because the love that God put love in every last one of us, and with that love is so strong, the love in you alone don't want to see your child even sick.
Right.
So it's something how God can, I'm going to give you this, but this is what's going to happen. That love don't die.
Right.
It continues to go on and on and on. And that's something that God is love, but He's just. So
that's what we will see throughout the Bible. And it might be a hard thing to swallow, but God is just in all that He do, right? And so we're going to see why, because there's a reason why there had to be suffering, okay? And I'm going to see if y'all can remember why, alrighty? So verse 14 says, and also the nation whom they serve I will judge. So He let them know that they're going to serve another nation, and they will afflict them for 400 years. But He said, the nation that they serve I will judge. Afterward, they shall come out with great possessions. Right? 15. Now as for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace, and you shall be buried at a good old age. Didn't He just tell them His whole life? Verse 16. But in the fourth generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. The Amorites were the descendants of Ham. Right? You remember the curse that God pronounced on Canaan. Right? So He said that they would be servants. So Abram's seed could not return until God had judged the Amorites. Right? And we learn from chapter 10 that the Amorites were Canaan's offspring. Canaan was the son of Ham that Noah cursed, right? The curse had to go into effect, and that righteous bloodline could not be a part of that, right? So God needed to take care of the Amorites first before Abram's offspring took over their land. So He let them get all that land, right? And then they're going to go into captivity and all of that, right? And then come out with great possessions. Do y'all see? Okay, so Abram did become allies with 3 Amorites in the previous chapter, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Those were the 3 that helped him get Lot. Okay, so you will see sometimes you'll see where people will befriend or become allies with God's chosen line, right? So it's not necessarily every last one of them, but the group of people themselves, they have the opportunity to work with God. You will see those opportunities, as y'all know, with Rahab, right? She had the opportunity. She could have denied it, but but she had the opportunity to work with God's chosen people, and for that she was blessed. Right? So we can't judge anybody, because people can make their own decisions. You can do something horrific and turn your life around the next second. Right? So we don't judge that. We just have to be in place to help them get to that place with God that they need to be. Because that's what the altar is for, right? When people come, it doesn't matter what they've done. Now, we might have our limit. God doesn't, except for blaspheming the Holy Spirit. So when people come to this altar, it does not matter. And I've heard some, people, they start confessing a lot when they come to the altar. And it's like, nothing that they tell you should surprise you. You've done some stuff too. I don't care what they tell you. It's your position, if you're working the altar, to lead them to the forgiving God, right? And you lead them in such a way that it transforms their life to where they understand, okay, I'm not going to not do this just because I don't want to burn up for eternity. I'm not going to do this because I don't want to disappoint my Father, because now I understand His love for me. And when we teach people the love of God is not like man, it's unconditional. He loves you more than the person that you think loves you the most. Right? When we teach people God's love, the fear of hell doesn't equate to that. Right? And when someone loves someone enough, they won't want to hurt them. But when you teach fear of hell, they're like, oh, well, that's after. I don't care. You see what I mean? But when you teach them love and you show them love of God, that means we need to be showing unconditional love, right? Forgiveness. That's modeled through spouses. That's modeled through how you treat your children, how you treat your brothers, how you treat your sisters. When people see that and they've never seen that, they look at you like, nah, you want something. No, I don't want nothing. I just love you. I just love you with the love of God. What is it that you need? And that turns people's heart to Him. Because they're like, who would love me after I just told you all I've done? God does.
Yeah.
Right? It makes a difference. And if we as the body of Christ don't show the love of God, we're just like the world.
Yep.
We are just like the world. So as hard as it might be, and my husband has gotten up there and told y'all a whole bunch of stories about where he could have went the other way. He's always tested in love. Even with me sometimes. Even with me, I test him a little bit. But it's the difference. People expect him, especially people that know him, expect him to react. And when he doesn't, they like, oh, he's saved for real. Yeah. But it's a fight. You know what I mean? He come home and he like, can't talk about it right now. He can't even talk about it because one split second you can make a different decision. But we have to get to that point. And I remember telling God once, I said, I want to love like Jesus. And Nancy was like, well, you're going to have to forgive like him. And I'm like, whoa, wait. And I was like, okay, so can I forgive? Like, that means no matter what somebody do, no matter what they say. So I'm trying to think of all the scenarios and like, okay, I think I can forgive. So when I got to that point where I thought of every scenario, and I was like, okay, I think I can do it. I was like, okay, I do. I want to love like Jesus. And the opportunity comes, and you can't say, God, why would somebody do me like that? This is your opportunity. But when that happens, all offense goes out the door. It goes out the door, right? Because I forgive you, that's fine. I don't have to hold a grudge. You know how good it feels not to hold a grudge? That gives you years on your life. That keep you from headache. When somebody say something, and normally the old you that was supposed to be dead decides to run. That's no flags for a Christian. For you to say, oh, I woulda, coulda, you would have met me. We shouldn't be saying stuff like that. That's giving honor to that old man.
And you know what, Edie, sometimes we, as kids, sometimes we pick up our parents' grudges and we don't know why they're really mad with that person. And that person could also sometimes do something to them or not. And we as kids, I don't know on my time, kids picked up, I didn't, but, you know, some people pick up what, my mom met that lady, that man, don't y'all speak to them.
And then the kids
Oh,
mad at other
yeah, we
kids.
doing the same thing, and then we'll do our kids there, and they just keep going on and on,
Yeah.
you know.
That's how evil continues. It says overcome evil with good.
Yeah.
So if you can't complain about the evil in the world, you're the one. Somebody does something evil for you. That's how the evil continues to live in this land. Somebody has to say, okay, that was evil, but I ain't doing it. I'm gonna do the right thing. But that changes people's heart, whether or not they come and tell you or not. That makes them look at you differently.
And
Yeah.
it's like, here they coming to get Jesus
Mm-hmm.
in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Mm-hmm.
He asked his disciples, stay awoke for 1 hour. They went to sleep.
They
And
asked for their
then-
burger and chicken.
And when they asked for him, the authority in his voice, the 600 foot soldiers
Mm.
with Judas hit the ground.
Mm.
Bam. I mean, when he said, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
Then they still got up, and Peter, he woke now,
Score slanging spears.
and he said, that's not the way we fight.
Mm-hmm.
Picks up the ear, and yet you still want to take this man. We say, God, he demonstrated his love
Yes.
by
Mhm. But could you imagine the other side of that? The other side is that the love Peter had for Jesus made him cut off that soldier's ear. So when you think about it, when you reach that person that loves you so great, you'll do whatever you need to do to make sure that they stay there with you.
Yeah.
So we often look at Peter as he did something bad. No, love made him react. Just like if you see somebody been hit your child, you go, you know. So it's something about love, and I think we don't understand the hierarchy of love. When you love somebody so much, if we can take that and times it by 1,000,000,000, that's what God feels about us.
Yeah.
But then think about when our kids make us mad. Like, get away from me.
We still love them, we fight them, we still love them.
But even in all of that love, because that's a good point, but even in all of that love, Jesus still said, get thee behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Because even our love will cause us to sin against God
Yeah.
and go against his purpose for our life. As we see with Abram, we're seeing now, yeah, Abram loved Lot,
Yep.
but he just had to fight a whole war for him.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the first one, y'all. First time he had to go get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the instruction was, leave.
Your kindred. Mm-hmm.
There was a reason, because he had a plan for Abram's offspring. So when God tells you to do something, yes, sometimes it may be hard, but there is a plan that he's working you toward.
Mm-hmm.
Even with, he didn't say stop loving them,
Mm-hmm.
but he did say leave. That don't mean you stop loving, right? But now we're seeing, I'm sure y'all can think of some instances where you heard or felt God say, don't do X, Y, Z. You said, I'm just going to do it anyway. And God knew more than you. But at that moment, you know, I got this guy. You can sit on back down. And then you have to suffer. We'll see this throughout the entire Bible where people make the opposite decision. And then they have to suffer and come back to God and say, okay, God, forgive me. Right? But it's because he's working out a plan in you. It's for your good.
How many times you see on electricity, do not touch?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Somebody want to touch it. Somebody want to touch it.
Mm-hmm. It's something that's in us.
Something
Just
about
make
us.
us want
Sure.
to. Yeah.
Knowledge
Here-
of good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know evil, you can't do. Think about your children. While they're in your home, before they go off to school, before they go to their cousin's house and all of that, you teach them what is good. Stuff you probably, well, y'all, I'm sure y'all raised y'all a whole lot different than how they're raising them now. But you teach them right. they go somewhere else and come back home with something like you ain't never heard of, especially these days. I don't think none of y'all kids going through that, but the way they're raising children now is like, you gotta teach them the wrong, you gotta tell them the wrong before they get out there, because you don't have a clue what they're gonna come home with.
They're gonna make the wrong sound.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make the wrong sound so convincing
Yes.
to where, and I
Most
believe,
surely not.
yeah, and that's why I think it's very important to tell your children the tricks of the enemy, so when the trick come up, they can spot it
Yeah.
for what it
This
is.
is exactly what he's gonna do, and he's been doing the same thing since human existence. He's been presenting that fruit. It don't matter what the fruit is. The fruit can be a whole bunch of stuff now. No matter what that fruit is, he's offering it. Hey, eat this,
Yeah,
right?
but yeah, I'm glad that story got done. Glad, 'cause even still, you know what was gonna happen at the end.
Yeah.
Still not that favorable to the natural side of you.
Yeah.
You know.
And even going down to the marriage, right? So the woman will suffer pain and sorrow during conception and childbirth, and the men will have to work under the sweat of their brow. That was the curse for it, right? But Jesus reversed that. Okay? So we shouldn't suffer as much as probably Eve suffered. There's no telling what. She was the first one that had to go through that, right? So, whew.
You know what? We have our kids. We know the pain is there, but we haven't done it. I don't know.
But in that carrying, you like, I don't care what pain, get it out
Yeah.
Get it
Once
out.
it's done, the pain goes away.
instantly, yeah.
Instantly, it goes away.
And I don't
It
think,
hurt for a minute.
huh?
It hurt for a long minute.
And you know what? We don't place value on life anymore, right? Heirs used to be like, this is my bloodline, right? And now it's just like, we don't even pick. Not we. Well, I didn't at one point. But you don't even pick good. You don't care nothing about the bloodline. You ain't trying to see what the parents dealing with, how they raised them, so you know this is going to be a parent to your child, right? This is going to be the mother to your child. You don't know what type of mother. They might be a good girlfriend and a horrible mama, right?
Yeah, we were taught that.
Yeah.
We could leave that family, they such.
Mhm.
We were taught that growing up.
They're not teaching it now.
Not at all.
Oh, they look good. Okay, that's it.
I mean, that's why.
I'm like, you picked them.
Yeah, if you like what we teach our daughters, I teach them to be Proverbs 31 women to whoever they're going to. Yeah. So when I hand you to your husband, I'm handing you to your husband. You're pure, so then I'm gonna hand you to your husband. But you need to know that bloodline and make sure that's who God say He's the one, because you could be married into a psych ward and you don't even realize it. So make sure, yeah. I mean, thank God I picked. Well, I didn't pick, but hey, praise God. She was good. She wasn't that crazy. Kind of crazy, but wasn't that crazy.
Sometimes you have to be a little crazy to figure that out.
Look, just a little bit, no.
Where I'm coming from,
I'm just passionate, okay? I'm just very passionate. That's what that is. That's what we call it once we get sanctified. Passionate.
Everybody would say at the same time.
I surely would. But God has done a work, okay? Yes. And I think God definitely, because, and even with that, like I tried to leave, right? I called my mama, come get me. And then she comes.
that real quick.
This lady car completely stopped in the middle of a red light. And she looked at me, and I looked at her. She was like, "You want me to keep going?" I was like, "Yes, keep going." Like it completely stopped, and we both knew like you need to just. I was like, "No, keep going." So I believe no matter what happened and what we tried to do, it was ordained by God. You can't get away from it. You know what I mean? So, and we know that for a fact, because yeah. We are very special people. No, I don't think nobody else would want him, and nobody else would want him. Yeah, this is God ordained. Okay. You both headaches.
I mean, sometimes we have to joke, you know. In one relation, they were saying, "Boy, your wife sure look good." I say, "Well, you can have the bills too." Have it all.
You don't know the whole story.
And I think that's where the enemy get a lot of us by only looking at one thing, but you don't know what it took for that person to get to it. And I think that's the bad thing about us as Christians as well. We don't know, a person can come in here, have dress, but we don't know what it took them to get to even get here to walk through the door. So that's why we keep, like, in the back, we know we have shawls and stuff like that in case somebody come in. But
Even
it
with that,
takes
you gotta
a lot.
be greeted with love.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
You're able to discern if that, because that could be a whole demon.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be.
Mhm.
But most of the time, it's not. It's somebody that's hurt, that don't value themselves and things
Yeah.
like that, and they need to be shown that. Yeah.
But it takes so much. Think about what it takes for us after that alarm go off and you don't feel like getting up. And you have to make yourself get up. So, you know, when you having a spiritual encounter and you know that the enemy is giving you every reason of not to go to church, but something, your grandmother's words or prayers or something just made you get there. If I can just get there, I know everything will be okay. And I think if we literally, by the time they even put their feet to the pavement out there, they should feel the love of God before they even hit the doors, you know. And with all us in here, the spirit of discernment, God will speak to somebody, you know.
But we always say the people that's coming in the door, how they dress, you don't know what happened in our own life. You know, it's something.
Yeah.
You know? But we like to save other people. But sometimes our life wasn't a bed of roses always. You know, we didn't grow up with all this and all that. And sometimes God had to move you to another family where you could be better.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
And things. So, true.
And that's what we learn through testimony, right? That's how we learn. We learn each other, you know. And when you know somebody is sensitive in a certain area, you don't let nobody else come up to them and be doing too much. Like, hey, you might not know their story, but come on over here. Just don't handle her like that, you know. In love.
We're supposed to protect
We're
each
supposed
other.
to protect each other, right?
We are brothers keepers.
That's
Amen.
right.
We like to judge one another.
Mhm.
But you gotta look at yourself first.
That's right. You can plank out your eye.
Mm.
You plank it.
Three.
Look at plank it.
Three coming back at you.
But yeah, I think that there definitely is a season right now where God is calling us to judge ourselves. We're seeing all of the exposures going on and things like that, and so we need to make sure that we are right in our own heart, in our own house, so that we can help other people, because we can't help somebody with something that we're still dealing with, right? And so that should be the motivation. So, okay, let me get rid of this anger, because I can't talk to nobody that's angry. I mean, I know how they feel, but I might be egging them on like, yeah, you need to go do that. You know, oh, I wouldn't take that if I go over there right now and I give them even more ideas. And then they end up in jail or dead, and now what?
Millstone.
Yeah.
Millstone.
Call the least of these to fall. It's better that you tie a millstone around your neck and be cast into the sea. Like, God is serious about that. He's serious, period, about what he say. And it's the reason. It's never just, oh, let me just tell you something, because no, it's the reason why there's mercy. Because, hey, I want to see you get what I have for you. Right? I don't want you struggling. And a lot of times we always think physical healing, but we struggle so much emotionally and mentally. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to be whole in God. So the places that you are not whole, those are the places you have not allowed God to mend that thing, right? And you may not know how to do it. That's the area that I do work in. So if you are not whole mentally, emotionally, hey, come talk to me. I think everybody got my number. That's the area that God has literally given me to operate in. So you don't have to be pieces of you coming into church on Sundays. We can work on that throughout the week. So when you come in here, praise the Lord, everybody. Let me tell you what he did for me, right? So that's one of the things that we don't think about being healed in, right? You don't have to die broken. You don't have to die or live unfulfilled. If you're feeling unfulfilled, the God that you serve can fill all of those places.
Yes, Lord.
But He's not going to force you. You have to say, God, this area, I know I'm lacking. I need you to fill me again.
Yeah.
There's things that are taken out of us because we have children, we have spouses, we have grandchildren, all these things. So our virtue is taken, right? If you have a job, it takes stuff from you. So you need to be aware, like, oh, I'm empty in this. God, I need you to fill me again. And you have to believe that whatever the area is, don't let nobody make you believe, oh, God, not worried about this area. Yes, He is. Because He wants you to be whole in every place. That is the benefit of serving an all-powerful God.
Yes.
Why would you serve an all-powerful God that couldn't make you whole? Right? I wouldn't. Bye. Y'all serve some other kind of God. Because if you say He's that powerful, but He can't mend this, He can't fix this, that doesn't make sense, right? So we have to start demonstrating not just physical healing, soundness of mind, right? Right?
Yep.
Spiritual fulfillment. Nobody should be walking in here with a broken spirit. Even if they're walking here with a broken, they definitely should be leaving out with a broken spirit. A broken spirit will cause you to die. People have literally died from a broken heart.
Yes.
So when they come in here, they should be revived. They should be restored, right? They should be healed. Okay? So let's finish out, let's go verse 17. And it came to pass, when the sun went down, and it was dark, that behold, there appeared a smoking oven and a burning torch that passed between those two pieces. On the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your descendants I have given. Now I have given, not going to give, but I have given this land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, verse 19. The Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. So 5 of those were Canaan offspring. The Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Canaanites. Those belong to Canaan. The Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Perizzites, and the Rephaim are not, we don't know where they originated from, but their land was going to be taken too. Okay? God was giving Abram's descendants these lands. But Caleb, from Caleb and Joshua, y'all remember them? That went out to spy the land. Caleb was a Kenizzite. Okay, so remember I told you sometimes they will have a choice to go over to that side. And then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, was a Kenite. All right? So those 10 groups of people, God made a covenant with Abram that He would give them their land. So yeah, till the land, make it beautiful, build the buildings, right? But this is going to be taken.
I wonder where it says the Perizzites, is that where they got parasite from?
Parasite. Oh, goodness. And the Rephaim, those were the ones that they also called the Anakim, which were the giants. The people that was huge stature. And I think the ones that when they did go into the land, we'll read that for long, but when they did go into the land, they said the grapes were as big as men's head.
Was that same thing as Goliath?
Yeah.
The real
The
giant,
Anakim.
big people. I know PVC, Sister Goodwin and Brother Goodwin, their kid, they like big body, big giants. So when we see people like Brother Sam, we know that there were big people like him. We call them giants. Yeah, I remember.
They're giants to us.
Giant, black giant.
But they were giants, they was like 9 feet.
That's big.
Yeah.
Well, they said the angels came down.
Like Goliath.
The angels came down. Oh,
Say,
yeah, we're
oh,
going to learn about that
them
later.
some beautiful daughters. close, you guys. Yeah, so tomorrow morning, we will be doing chapter 16. If you have not, y'all don't have to read it by yourself. I actually read. I read the chapter. So you don't have to read it by yourself. Click on the video, watch the video. Make sure you're writing down your questions, all of them. Because here's the thing. If you write something that only you know you wrote, and you go through the Bible, and when God answers you, it builds your relationship with him. Right? It opens that door for him to communicate with you. Okay? So that concludes chapter 15. Did anybody have any questions or any insights from that chapter when God had to reconfirm again for Abram?
Okay.